Hey everybody, welcome back to Dental Unfiltered. I'm here with my normal, awesome co-host, the legendary Dr. Andrew Vallo. And today we have an awesome episode. He picked the subject. It's high performance biohacking. And this word gets thrown around a lot now, biohacking. It's like how to make your body better. What is the secret hack to have this happen? I see it a lot in like Facebook ads. And I think what's really interesting, Dr. Val is going to talk about a couple things he's done that he knows has worked for him. And one of them we did together, which I will tell you this thing worked really well. So I'm really excited about this episode. I think it's going to be a really interesting episode. I think where the high performance comes is, and comes from my world in the special operations world, working around the greatest warriors in the world, like Green Berets and stuff. Like, I will tell you that there was something I did during my time doing that, and it was paleo, and I grazed on certain things more, and I did some intermittent fasting. And during that time, I felt like I could jump over buildings. My Brazilian jiu-jitsu was better than it ever was. My recovery was awesome. I could do really hard, strenuous things, take a 2-hour break where I would need normally a day break, and I'd be back at it again. And we had some really good nutritionists and support people. And I think that was a giant biohack because I felt like I was superhuman. And I think you have to understand when you do these things, it affects performance mentally, physically, work, leadership. If you feel good, everything's better. So, Doc Vallo, talk about, you have a few biohacks to talk about. So tell me where this high performance biohack, where the motivation came from.
Guys, this is actually probably one of the episodes I've been most excited about doing here in a while. I've got a lot of really cool stuff to share with you guys today. A lot of it, some of my personal experiences. This is not specifically dental focused. However, as Matt mentioned, if you prioritize your health, it's going to make you more capable as a dentist, as a business owner, as a leader. I love what Matt said. If you feel better, everything just seems to work better. So let me give you a quick backstory here, and then we'll jump into what I've been doing and what my results have been so far. So I have had GI issues for at least the last decade. It was kind of sometime in the middle of dental school. I started having, more issues with like reflux, sour stomach, just all kinds of different things going on with the GI. And I went to doctor, I went to gastro, and basically they're like, yeah, it seems like you have some sort of IBS. There's a couple different things that fall in that general category. They didn't really do any definitive diagnostics. They were essentially like, yeah, try to minimize irritants, caffeine, alcohol, and whatever else. And that was about it. And at that time I was in dental school. I was still living in the dental fraternity house. I was still going out with friends. I was studying for exams. So I'll be honest, I didn't really listen to them a whole lot. And at that point, it was pretty mild, but it was kind of newer to me. So I was trying to figure out what was going on. And more or less, I've kind of managed it over the last decade here, decade plus, I guess. More recently, like this last year or so, it seems like it's gotten worse. So I think stress of a growing business, stress of a growing family, getting older, maybe I packed on a couple extra pounds, all that stuff I think added in. And like going into the holidays this year, like I remember the couple days leading up to Christmas, including Christmas Day, I just had like the worst sour stomach that wouldn't go away. It was just like wake up in the morning. It was waking me up at night. Obviously it's Christmas, so I'm having some Christmas ales, or had drank a little bourbon with my family, my dad and my brother, and celebrating, which probably didn't help. Less sleep as we're getting everything ready for Christmas Day. Lots of coffee, and I remember like going to bed Christmas night. I mean, it was we had a great Christmas. My son had a great time. We all that good stuff. But I remember going to bed and thinking like, all right, like enough is enough. I need to do something about it. Like I've always been interested in my health. I've always been big about going to the gym and things like that. I've done a lot of keto. I did the carnivore diet with Matt for a month before. So I was like, it's time for me to like really step up and take charge of this. So the next day, December 26th, I got on my phone, I went in ChatGPT, and I decided I was going to turn ChatGPT into my own personal trainer. And so I wrote out this long prompt. Basically, summarize what I said was, from everything you know about me, because I use it a fair bit. It probably knows a decent amount about me already. Everything you know about me, here's some things you may not know. Talked about the 10-year struggle with stomach issues. Talked about how my sleep hasn't been great lately in general. Talked about stress levels. Talked about packing on a few extra pounds. And talked about some of my previous diets that I had success with. Talked about my fitness routine, all that stuff. And I said, I want you to help create a diet, sleep, exercise, lifestyle plan for me that is tailored to improving GI issues, optimizing sleep, helping me lose some weight, helping me get more energy back, all that good stuff. And so it spit out a bunch of things. One of the most noteworthy things that it told me was I needed to cut out about 95% of what I was drinking in a given day. So, to be fair, I was drinking an ungodly amount of caffeine. My normal daily routine, I would wake up and have a pre-workout on the way to the gym, which probably I think had maybe about 250 milligrams of caffeine in it, give or take. I would get home from the gym and usually immediately have a espresso shot, sometimes a double espresso shot. I'd finish that, and usually then I'd have a cup of coffee as I was kind of working on emails and getting into my day or whatever. I'd usually have a sugar-free Monster. That was my drink at lunchtime. And then in the afternoon, I'd usually have at least one or two more espressos / coffees. So all in all, I was probably 1,000 milligrams of caffeine, maybe 1,200 milligrams of caffeine a day. And I've been doing this for a long time. I probably worked my way up to it. But the things I had noticed were that, you build a tolerance to that. So that cup of coffee, that espresso shot, that pre-workout, that energy drink, it really wasn't doing a whole lot for me. It was basically getting me back to baseline. And then I'd have these, caffeine energy crashes and all that stuff. So it told me I needed to completely cut out caffeine. I actually thought that would be the hardest part. It told me to completely cut out alcohol. It told me to completely cut out any artificial sweeteners. So I don't drink a ton of soda, but if I do, it's usually Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, Diet Ginger Ale. So I had to cut all that stuff out as well. It told me to cut out carbonation. So, I guess if you're predispositioned to having IBS-like symptoms, carbonation can exacerbate those. So it sounds like maybe that's not a forever thing, but I was, in addition to everything else I was drinking, I was probably drinking 3 to 4 sparkling waters a day. So, if you think about it, guys, I spend a lot of time sitting at my computer doing work, and I'm the type of person I like to have something to sip on while I'm doing that. So I wasn't drinking a lot of sugar. It was all, either sugar-free things or, artificially sweetened or just something that didn't naturally have sugar in it. But I was drinking a lot of carbonation, a lot of caffeine, a decent amount of artificial sweeteners. So what am I allowed to drink on this new plan? I'm allowed to drink still water. I'm allowed to drink certain hot teas. Obviously they have to have 0 caffeine in them. And I'm allowed to drink bone broth. So those are my 3 beverages, which is a little challenging. I won't lie. Today is January 7th. So, this is our recording session. I am 12 days into this plan, I think, give or take, about 12. So I tapered off the caffeine. It had me do that. So I cut back over a couple days, and then I cut it out completely. So I think almost 10 days with no caffeine now. I think it took me about 3 days to taper out of it. I will say, I think baseline energy is better, and I'm not having the caffeine crashes. I had one night where I had a really bad, I think, withdrawal headache. Maybe I taper a little too fast, but other than that, it really hasn't been too bad. I don't miss caffeine too much at this point in time. I haven't had any alcohol, so this was my first New Year's Eve in quite some time where I didn't have a single drink. It was actually really refreshing to wake up New Year's Day, and not that I was, we've got a 3-year-old, not like I was going out and getting drunk on New Year's Eve, but we'd have some champagne, maybe have a couple beers, whatever, at home, or, dinner with friends or something. So this is the first New Year's Day I woke up just feeling totally energized and great. And I got to the gym as soon as they opened at 6 a.m. and I was one of the only people there. So that was really cool. It really gave me some time to be reflective and have some clarity. From the diet aspect, it's having me kind of go back to my carnivore. So I think based on the success I've had in the past with that, although it tweaked things a little bit for me. When I did the carnivore last time, I was just kind of doing it on my own, kind of picking what I wanted. I was eating a lot of bacon, which apparently maybe is not the best meat to have on carnivore. So it had me cut out the bacon. Basically, had me cut out pork in general. So not only am I doing carnivore, but I'm doing the best, I guess, meats and fishes that it recommends for weight loss, for low, GI load and things like that. So I am having 2 meals a day. I'm having my first meal, like basically lunch between 11 and 1 p.m. And my lunch almost every day is 8 ounces of ground beef with 2 eggs. And sometimes if it's a heavy train day, I'll add in a 100% beef, grass-fed, uncured beef sausage. So it has me kind of load up my fat at lunchtime, make sure I'm getting plenty of protein. And then my second meal has me eating earlier. So I was guilty of working late quite often and eating dinner at 8 o'clock. Now I'm trying to eat dinner between 6 and 7 most nights, sometimes even earlier if timing allows. And it's having me eat a leaner meat for dinner. So I'm eating filet, like lean fish, cod, tilapia, things like that, bison. And so I'm typically doing about 8 to 10 ounces of lean meat or fish, plus bone broth, which is like 19 grams of protein with no carbs and no fat. So that's a nice addition. And then I got this IsoPure 0 carb protein powder, and I'll usually add a scoop of that as well. So lighter dinner, less calories, less fat, earlier. It has me taking some supplements. So at lunchtime, I'm taking zinc, vitamin C, fish oil, vitamin D. So it's got a couple different like vitamins and mineral supplement type thing. I'm still taking 5 grams of creatine a day. I take that with lunch as well. I'm taking electrolytes in the morning. So LMNT has an unflavored version that is 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar. So I drink the unflavored LMNT to start the morning before so that's my new pre-workout. That basically replaces my workout or my pre-workout. And then at night, it's having me take magnesium and glycine to kind of help make sure I get a good night's sleep. So that's more or less. I'll get into kind of, I guess, exercise, fitness stuff in a second, but I wanted to get through all the dietary stuff first and let Matt kind of jump in with his thoughts so far. So
I did carnivore with Andrew also. Super effective. It was easy for me. Andrew, I went months, and Andrew was like, "You're better than I am at this," because I couldn't go more than a month. I prefer eating
I did
meat.
1 month. Yeah.
I did like 9 months of it. It was great. On the alcohol thing, alcohol is just poison. Like there's no, like there isn't like really a benefit. Like when I was in the Army, I saw so many people also ruin their lives with alcohol. And I don't drink, and I don't not drink because I had a problem. I stopped drinking like 20 years ago when I was in the military because I just saw just the negatives of it. Like if you do a Venn diagram on alcohol, you're hard pressed to put anything in the positive column. Also with energy drinks, energy drinks and caffeine really aren't energy drinks. Energy drinks and caffeine, what they do is they block the feeling of they block the hormone of the receptors that make you feel tired. They do not add energy.
They're stimulants. They're not energy.
Yeah, they're not energy. Like they're labeled energy drinks, and people misperceive that. Like, I'm going to drink this can and get energy. No, you're going to drink this can, and it's going to mask how tired and fatigued you are. And by doing that, that ball's being kicked down the road. And what happens next is you're exhausted. As I yawn, and I'm bad at it too. Like no one ever believes this. I wish there was a non-energy version of Red Bull because I love the Red Bull flavors. Everyone's like, really? I don't know why I do. Like it's more of a taste thing for me than energy. But I'm kind of in the same boat. Now, what I didn't know, and I'm curious about this, I did not realize that your ChatGPT gets to know you.
Oh yeah.
And now I'm even, does it call you Andrew?
I mean, I don't have it call me Andrew. No. Did I think I texted you guys a prompt New Year's Day. This is a separate prompt, just where I said about New Year's Day reflections, I wanted ChatGPT to tell me 5 things I should be grateful for from 2025 to help me kind of reflect on some things that maybe I wasn't thinking about that had gone well that year. And I asked it to give me a few goals for the 3 and 5 year goals to help me start brainstorming there. And that was a really cool prompt. Like that really showed me just how much it really does know me. So anyone who's interested, if you use ChatGPT, it was a very simple prompt. Tell me 5 things from 2025 that I should be grateful for, and tell me a few goals for 3 and 5 year goals so I can start brainstorming. Very cool, very insightful, almost scary how much it knows about you. But again, I feel like it's been an incredible tool for me as a personal trainer. And I'm going to get into some more stuff there. Before I get into some of the exercise stuff, I wanted to tell you, I guess, at least some results so far. So, like I said, I'm about 12 days, give or take in. In my first 10 days, I lost 15 pounds. So that was really cool. That was probably the fastest I've ever lost that much weight. And I think just the timing of everything, taking out the artificial sweeteners, which can still spike, insulin response and all that stuff, improving my sleep, lowering inflammation, all that was huge. I feel better. My sleep's been way better. I'm falling asleep better. I'm sleeping through the night. The only issue with sleep I'm having right now is I'm waking up even earlier than I want to. So like my goal is to wait, like my alarm's set for 5:20. I'd like to wake up at 5:20, go get a workout in. I've been waking up between 4 and 5 a.m. almost every single day since I started doing this. Now my sleep data is great. I mean, it says I'm getting a lot of REM sleep, a lot of deep sleep, but I'm only getting about 6 to 6.5 hours of sleep every night, and I'd like to get about 7. So it's not like horrible, but I just need to tweak things. I either need to just keep doing what I'm doing and hope that eventually my body, I think my cortisol response is just happening a little bit too early now. So either if I can fine tune, go to bed the same time and start waking up, closer to my alarm, that would be good. Or on the flip side, maybe I need to try to get to bed just a little bit earlier, which could be a challenge with, getting our son to bed and just getting settled down for the night and everything. But one way or another, I'm going to try to get to more consistently about 7 hours of sleep a night. GI, my stomach in general, these last couple of weeks, I mean, it's been almost 2 weeks now, the last 2 weeks, very quickly improved, and day to day has felt better than it has in years. So I'm hardly ever having that sour stomach feeling, no acid reflux. It feels lighter. I don't think about it, which is cool. It's nice to go days at a time and not really think about like, how's my stomach feeling right now type of a thing. So that's been huge. My energy levels are up. Now I won't lie. There are some days where I start to feel a little bit of a crash, where I feel like, man, I could really use a shot of espresso right now. And I do plan to introduce caffeine back into the equation, but I'm doing like a full caffeine reset. And so from what my understanding is from, what it told me was that it typically takes your body about 2 to 3 weeks to do like a full hard reset on caffeine on your receptors. So, my plan is to make it at least 3 weeks, maybe a month, to give it plenty of time to fully reset there. And then my plan is to use caffeine sparingly, maybe adding like 1 shot of espresso on most days, or hard days or whatever it is. I think if I do that, I can still have, some caffeine, and I can kind of use it to keep me going through some busy days, but I think it'll be more effective because I've reset all those receptors there as well. I set this out as a 90-day plan. So my goal was the first 30 days to be super strict on pretty much everything. And then the next 60 days to be fairly strict, but to maybe start making life a little bit more normal during that time period. My goal is to lose 50 pounds in 90 days. And I think I'm going to get there. If I do that, I will be, I will essentially be at my college weight, but, in a better physical form because I've added a lot of muscle since college. So if I can do that, I think I'll feel better, have more energy, look better. All my old clothes will fit way better, all that good stuff. So we'll kind of see how that goes. I wanted to get into exercise. So I was already going to the gym 5 to 6 days a week. That's one thing that I've kept up essentially my whole life. I had gotten out of cardio though. I used to run. I used to, do 5Ks, 10Ks. I did a few half marathons. But I basically stopped running. I mean, you only have so much time as a business owner and parent. And I'd put all my free time that I had to working out into lifting. And the crazy thing, I didn't really think a whole lot about it, but I was going to the gym almost every day. But I mean, I might get on the treadmill and do like a half mile, like warm up or cool down or something like that. But I wasn't really, putting a lot of steps on the treadmill. I was lifting weights, but then I was sitting at my desk almost all day. And then I was going home tired, caffeine crash, having a late dinner, sitting on the couch, putting my son to bed, sitting on the couch and going to bed. So I actually wasn't really getting that many steps in every day either. I was probably getting, 4,000 or 5,000 steps in a day. So one of the goals, kind of like the 75 hard, at least 10,000 steps a day. I'm kind of shooting for closer to 15,000. So I started running outside again. That was a huge challenge. That was probably the worst running shape I've ever been in my life. But I'm a few runs in. The last run was the best by far. So the last run I got 4 miles. Pace is still pretty slow for me. But I at least felt pretty good the whole time. And, that was, I feel like things are getting easier there. I think they'll keep getting easier. I'm still going to the gym. It's had me tweak a few things in my workouts, but I am adding in more cardio at the gym as well. So I'm doing at least 25, 30 minutes of incline walk on the treadmill. I'm doing some like incline jogging. I'm doing some step machine, all that stuff. So I'm adding some more cardio at the gym as well. And then kind of the craziest turn of all of this stuff was one of my buddies from dental school back in Ohio told me his New Year's resolution was to run his first marathon. So I had run my first half marathon with him. I'd actually run all 3 half marathons I had done with him. And, us both being competitive people, I just lost a big fantasy football match to him this year and owed him some money. So I couldn't let him run his first marathon and me not do that. So I was like, when is it? Like, I want to do this too. So it's October 17th in Columbus. I'm putting it out there. I'm signed up. I'm committed. I am planning to go from my worst running shape of my life 10 months later to running my first marathon. In the middle of all that, in May, our second child is due. So business growing, growing from 10 to probably 13, 14 offices this year, family growing. But I am committed to running this marathon and trying to beat my friend, Jack. So better watch out, Jack. I'm coming for you. My thought on all this, one, I'm excited. I think it'll be fun. I mean, not fun for a lot of the training, but I think it'll be fun to do this with him. But I figured it's going to help me maintain this like new, healthier lifestyle for a lot longer because I'm working towards this goal. So I think it really coincides with what I'm doing here with this kind of 90-day plan. And I think it will help keep me, again, I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to completely cut out everything, caffeine, alcohol, carbs, all that stuff. But I'm saying I'm going to be really strict about it. I'm going to lose some weight. And then I think as I start really training for this marathon, it's going to help me minimize alcohol intake. It's going to help me minimize, caffeine. It's going to help me minimize any junk food, bad food. It's going to help me make sure I'm always trying to optimize my sleep and recovery and all that stuff. Because if I'm actually going to run 26 miles, I'm really going to need to focus on everything because at 36, my body can't do what it was doing at 25.
Yeah, I feel like right around 38 for me, body parts started falling off. So, yeah, it's interesting because, I feel like some people think you can out diet health and some people think you can out exercise it. And in reality, you have to have both. Like you have to mix the two, right? So my question for you is, I think you said this, is this going to be like a solid lifestyle change or is this going to be like a boost and done thing like we did with carnivore? Like some of this sounds like it should be a lifestyle change. Like if you have GI issues, and some of this is mitigating those. Like I've had GI issues. I had IBS, I think, for a while, and I changed some stuff. Like, is this going to be like the new Andrew Vallo?
So my goal, my thought right now is, again, I'm going to be super strict here in the beginning to kind of I'm trying to reset my body. I'm trying to do a hard reset, lower all my inflammation, fix all my receptors that are out of whack, fix my sleep, all that good stuff. And then after I get through that, my goal is to just make a healthier lifestyle going forward. So I want to be realistic. So I want to do something that I feel like I can actually continue for the long term. So that's where I'm saying, like, I don't think I'm going to continue this crazy strict nutrition plan for the rest of my life. But I think in general, when I get through this, I could probably drink a good bit less caffeine than I used to. I've never had a problem with drinking. Like I've never gotten in trouble for it. I've never like been the type where I need to. I think as I've gotten older and had kids and got hangovers, like when I drink, it's normally just a few drinks, but I think I was doing it more than I needed to. And so like in my mind, I'm like, do I really need to sit at home watching a football game and have a few beers and have those extra calories and have those carbs and disrupt my sleep and all that stuff? So maybe like limiting alcohol to more, true social functions and things like that, where it becomes more of an occasional thing instead of part of my, weekly life. Again, with the caffeine, like limiting it to like the normal amounts of caffeine, like a person probably should have, instead of making it, again, a big part of my daily ritual. Junk food, fried food, fast food, all that. Not that I was eating a lot of that stuff, but again, I think probably just even less than I was. Earlier meals, and probably sticking with some kind of light version of the carnivore diet where, really protein heavy, really meat heavy, really minimizing carbs and even minimizing like veggie. Cause I think some of the veggies were honestly causing some of my GI symptoms as well. Because humans just we're not cows. And I don't think we're necessarily meant to eat a whole bunch of some of that stuff that we are taught to eat. So one of the interesting things that all this kind of coincides with is that Robert Kennedy Jr. just flipped the food pyramid upside down, which is something that should have happened a long time ago. But I don't know if you saw, I think this just all the news broke yesterday, but all these years we were taught backwards, guys. Like growing up in school, we were taught your base is grains and you're supposed to have a bunch of grains every day. That's horrible for you. You should not be eating that many carbs every day. Like that was absolutely,
I agree with that same that
absolutely
should
terrible
not be.
Advice.
Terrible.
And we villainize fats for all those years. Fats are actually good. It's just, again, you want to have the right fats and the right timing and, all that stuff. But like fats themselves they're essential and they'll help boost your metabolism. Eating fat will actually help you burn more fat. So the fact that we were villainizing it and being like, you should have low fat everything and never have fat, like that was the wrong advice as well. So I'm glad they did that. I think, it's going to hopefully start leading towards a healthier America, which we need. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to be the start of just a healthier lifestyle in general, and hopefully less issues with sleep, less issues with GI, less issues with energy crashes, like all that good stuff. I want to feel younger. I feel like I was feeling too old for someone in their mid 30s. So I want to feel younger, feel more energized, like all that good stuff. So
I think it's easy in your 20s to get away with this stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
In your 20s, like, you're in college. I didn't go to college. I failed college 3 times, but I hung out at colleges with my friends that did. And in college, it's like, I got a test tomorrow. I go out and drink with my buddies. I wake up, I roll into the test, I perform. Yeah, your body's like young and limber. Like I remember me going through my military years in my 20s. Like I felt like I could do anything. I got out of the military and slowly, like my metabolism hit a brick wall. Like the double cheeseburger I would eat at the local restaurant and the wings, I felt it for 2 or 3 days. Right? Like, I think too, it's I think it's, you were talking about the food pyramid stuff. I think it's also a lot of our food isn't food. It's processed crap. Like I look at cheese and I go buy cheese in the store, and like if it says cheese product, I'm not buying it. Like you gotta look at these labels.
The other night I was a little bit low on calories and protein, and I was looking at drinking one of I used to do these Atkins keto shakes, and I still had some that were still good from just before. And I was going to have one of those, and I turned it over to look at the macros and everything. And I saw the ingredient list. This is like a little like milk-like protein shake in a little, pre-made bottle. It had like 25 ingredients. I couldn't believe it. It was insane to me. I was like, yeah, this is probably not what I asked ChatGPT, and it was like, your instincts are right. Don't drink that shit, basically is what it said. So
have you looked at bread recently? And look at the first 5.
I mean,
okay, so, but like just in general, if you look at a loaf of bread, the first 5 ingredients, like one of them's sugar.
Yeah.
Like, why are we adding sugar to bread?
This is interesting for anyone that hasn't heard. I read that Subway in other countries cannot call their bread because the sugar content is too high. And they have in most countries they have regulations. If sugar's too high, you can't call it bread. In America, we don't have that regulation. So in America, Subway calls it bread. But in other countries, they literally, I don't know what they call it. They literally cannot call it, they cannot refer to it as bread because the sugar content is too high in the Subway bread. Is that crazy? Meanwhile, here we are thinking Subway's supposed to be healthy because, well, Jared, but lost all that.
Jared ate a little sandwich a day and did calorie deficit.
Oh, and he had a lot of excess, fat.
And Jared went to jail.
He was walking a lot. Yeah, well, yeah. So
went to jail too.
Yeah. I do want to talk about one last thing, and then we're going to wrap this up because we want to get to, I think, at least one more episode today while we're recording. So the last part of so I guess first of all, how my track, I'm literally, again, using ChatGPT as my tracker, personal trainer. Every single day I am doing check-ins. So I'm doing meal check-ins, supplement check-ins, energy level check-ins, sleep. I'm uploading I have an 8 sleep. So, talk about, that was probably one of my favorite biohacking. And I've actually had that for a while. I was still having trouble sleeping, I think, because of other things I was doing. But that cooling mattress, oh my God, it's amazing. So if you sleep hot, highly recommend 8 sleep. Plus, it tracks all your sleep data for you. I don't know how.
You gotta send me a link for that.
Yeah, I can do that. But anyways, every morning I upload my data. I do think that the time slept is definitely accurate because I've looked at it many times. I don't know how accurate. It tracks your heart rate. I don't know how accurate that is with the tracking. It tracks your deep sleep, REM sleep. I don't know how accurate that is, but I upload that every morning. I actually I'm trialing out a new device called an Elamind. So it's basically this headband that sends vibration pulses through your skull to try to change your brain waves to basically help you fall asleep. So I'm always intrigued by this shit. So I read about it. Supposedly it's supposed to be fairly effective. I decided to try it. So I'm a few nights in. First night, I don't feel like it really, literally it plays these vibration sounds into your skull for 25 minutes and then it automatically shuts off. So the first night I didn't fall asleep when it shut off. I fell asleep. I fell asleep a little bit afterwards. I don't know if it helped me fall asleep after that fact or not. The next night I did fall asleep with it playing. So that was, I think, a good sign. Now, I think this data is way more accurate because you leave the headband on all night and it truly is tracking your brain waves. And I think it's giving more factual information about REM sleep, deep sleep, all that stuff. Last night would have been my third night, actually. I was so freaking tired last night that I passed out before I even put it on. So I fell in bed. That was one of the quickest I've ever fallen asleep, I think, because I have never been a great sleeper, even aside from all this stuff lately. I've never been a napper. I've never been someone who can snap their fingers and fall asleep. So that was very unusual for me to just pass out last night, but I did. So I don't have I don't have tracking information from that last night, but I still have my 8 sleep. But every morning, assuming I keep using the Elamind, I'll upload sleep data from both so we can kind of compare, the data sets. I bought a Withings body scan. So basically it's a smart scale that has this retractable handle that you hold on to that has sensors. And it'll give you your weight, but it also does body fat composition. It measures your heart rate. It actually does an ECG. So it does a few different things, and I'll upload that data to ChatGPT as well every morning with my weigh-in data and stuff like that. So I'm really trying to be super data driven and just give all this analysis to ChatGPT so it can continue to help me as I need to tweak or develop, my plan here. The other thing that I'm doing, and I've kind of been doing this. So I got home sauna. It's combo infrared and traditional, and I got a cold plunge. And I've had, again, my trainer, ChatGPT, I've had it dial down how long I should stay in the sauna, and then temperature I should put the cold plunge, how long I should stay in the cold plunge. So I do sauna, cold plunge, and sometimes I finish with the hot tub after that. Sometimes I don't. But I'm doing that probably at least 3 to 4 days a week to kind of help with recovery and, just all kinds of other things there. So I'm 2026 is the year I'm going all in on my health. I'm going all in on this biohacking stuff. I know we're not very far into this, but so far so good. And I'll kind of maybe keep you guys updated here as the next few months go on with how everything's been going. and my marathon training. All that said, if anyone's interested in running a marathon and wants to join us, we'll be at the Columbus Nationwide Children's Marathon on October 17th. I think it's the 17th. It's a Sunday in October. It's that weekend at least. So, if you are a well-trained runner, you'll probably smoke us. So, I mean, you're welcome to join, but we won't see you. If you're a little bit more beginner intermediate and you want to try to run it with us, feel free to sign up, let me know. And, we're happy to have some other, dental friends join us there for that race. So,
hey guys, thank you so much for listening. Like, subscribe, share, please leave a review. Once again, the link to the Dental Unfiltered Study Club is below us here in the description. In the chat, we periodically announce webinars from subject matter experts who are also guests. Just thinking about it, I'm probably going to try to schedule one for Andrew here soon, or at least a big Q&A. Thank you guys so much for listening. We love having you guys as listeners and fans. Have a great day.